recording? All right, we'll get the mission statement out. Our mission here is to create the greatest group of professional traders compiled in the world. We work tirelessly every day to improve our individual selves and push each other to get the most out of one another. With each individual's personal accountability, 100% effort, and consistent actions towards focusing on our controllables, we will each reach our full potential individually and as a family. Pledge. I, Stefanos, pledge to be the best version of myself today, to do whatever it takes to be the greatest trader that I can be, and to be the most self-disciplined person that I know. I will do the things I have to do today, regardless of how I feel, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. I will control what I can control and not worry about anything else. Reminders, we do not overtrade, we do not over-risk. You don't need to catch a trade today. 1 to 2 trade ideas per day, 3 if you see that perfect setup. Capital preservation over capital appreciation, aka risk management, is number 1. Keep your trading plan in front of you. Make smart decisions. We are system oriented. Now, how much money can I make on this? Think longevity, think efficiency, like I was just talking about, think long term. We aren't here just to make as much as we can this week, although that is important. We're here to learn. We're here to get better as traders on a daily basis and over the course of our lives. Have a sense of urgency today with your daily must every single day. Speed, think speed. Eliminate excuses and any victim mindset. Full accountability for your actions and decisions. All right. So, interesting week so far. Yesterday, the Fed increased their rates by 25 basis points. Today, we have Great Britain possibly doing the same over here. That's what's expected, and I expect them to do the same. We also have unemployment claims coming out at 8:30, about 30 minutes after that. They're expecting a little bit more than previous over here. If you get a big surprise number, that'll send the markets awry, but I don't think we're going to get that big of a surprise number. New home sales, real estate, the real estate market in the U.S. at least has been coming down, right? Housing prices have been coming down as of late. I would say the last like 2-3 months. So the real estate market is not nearly as hot as it was. But right over here, we got new home sales coming out at 10 a.m. I'll take a look at that number as well to see where that is. Now tonight we have CPI coming out of Japan, so that'll be possibly important for the Asian market. We'll see if that moves GJ at all tonight. But tomorrow's going to be PMI day, right? So we're going to be focusing on PMI. Core durable goods is going to be coming out for the U.S. Flash manufacturing and services PMI coming out for the U.S. as well. Obviously the last one. But a lot of stuff coming out of Europe, Great Britain, and the U.S. tomorrow. Retail sales coming out for Great Britain as well during the Asian session for you guys. So that'll be definitely something big to pay attention to. Now, looking at the charts, okay, GJ, and again, I'm going to point out a trade that I think it was GJ last night that I took, but the management was like spot on for a lot of you guys to start to learn from. Like I said, going through a lot of these trades is going to be really beneficial for you, not only doing these breakdowns together, but going through previous trades of mine or yours is really going to help us a lot. So again, looking at this monthly candle, looks like we're retracing a little bit, coming over from here. We have been creating some higher lows over here on some of the lower time frames, but right now it's going to be interesting where GJ ends up going. We are pretty much kind of like ranging in here right now, and once we start to break above here, okay, we're probably bullish, and we may end up retesting that high unless you fake out and continue right back down. Or if we start to break below 156 over here, and we hold that as a resistance, we may be coming down at 149 and filling that wick, right? But there's going to be a lot of fear in the market once that ends up happening, all right? So now looking at the weekly here. Weekly so far is holding a resistance, but we are also holding higher lows over here. So you're creating the higher lows. Price holding those higher lows as well. You really draw like a more in-depth bullish trend over here on the daily. You can keep it like that. So we've been creating these higher lows here, but we've also been holding the lower highs at the same time. Right, so that tells you that we're obviously sitting in a range over here. Current weekly candle is bullish. right? We are retracing from this area, kind of creating those lower highs, but at the same time, another higher low. So again, very difficult to be trading in here. There are some moves to be taken, but at the same time, it gets a little difficult as you go down. So now looking at the daily, we're obviously kind of just like ranging in here. We're sitting right below this area here on the daily, price holding support, right? Multiple times. You have this resistance right over here, price tapped into this whole area again, right? Strong. I mean, this whole area you could really like encompass like that, where price just likes to keep tapping into that key area, resistance, and coming down and meet up with the third time of this trend line over here. So price just keeps tapping into that area. I guess you could draw it like this if you'd like to encompass this wick right here. And now price, actually, I don't like that at all. Let me keep that right there. Anyway, this last candle yesterday, we pushed all the way into this area, rejected, and closed bearish once again, respecting that previous support. Right now, are we going to hold this support over here, or is this a nice liquidity grab where we now flip bearish and close a strong body? This candle is going to respect the high. It already passed the low of the previous candle. Can it continue down through here, mirroring some of these moves to the left? See the lower time frames. Looking at the 4 hour here. Okay, 4 hour gets a little challenging because again, we are ranging for the most part here. Just going to readjust that there. That's your previous resistance over there to the left. We ended up faking this previous resistance out. This can get dragged down here because now price is just kind of ranging in this area, but we are holding some kind of a higher low right here for the second time, right? Last time we bounced off that area, we ended up pushing through that resistance and faking it out. Now we've come right back below, fake that area out, holding the same resistance, but at any point we can end up coming into here, holding resistance and continuing down. Can we hold that resistance right there and continue right back down from there, right? Or are we going to end up breaking above this area and continuing back up? And see where the yen is for the day. Excuse me, I got hiccups. Okay, so the yen is still kind of coming down from that rally we had yesterday after FOMC. So right now it hasn't opened yet. So we'll see if it ends up holding some kind of a support right in here and continuing back up. If that's the case, GJ is going to hold that resistance and continue back down, or if it's going to continue back down from here, you know, as we've been holding some kind of a resistance right there, could very well end up rejecting that, forming a double top and continuing down. If that's the case, we're going to come right back above that resistance and continue back up. All right, but so far right now, what we do see is price ended up bouncing off the support right over here, breaking above its most recent support, right? And holding support so far, right? This candle created that high up there. We're pulling back to this area. A lot depends on this candle. Now, do I want to execute on a fake out within this range right here? I don't think so. It really depends on the candles and the volume, and we'll see what we get in the next like 20 minutes or so, especially because this is the 1 hour, so we're going to end up flipping bearish here. Really depends on where these candles close, because if that's the case and we get like a strong close in here, maybe we could take this down, but maybe you don't want to do that, right? Maybe you just want to wait for price to close below this level, and then you got this whole range right here that you could be taking something down with. Got about 140 pips right there that you could be mirroring this move to the left, coming right back down into 159.400. Right, let's look at the 30-minute. Yeah, so the 30-minute is holding support, right? We did get a bullish candle close right here on the 30-minute, and this candle did push into that area, but it's got no bottom wick, right? And it now looks like it's starting to reject this whole area over here, and it's too exhausted to continue up, right? This tells me that we may end up flipping bearish and coming back below here and continuing down, right? So right now, let's see, GJ. Oh, there you go. We'll keep that there. And before we get over to, actually, no, we're going to break down all our pairs, then we'll get into that trade. But I just wanted to show you guys a trade from last night. All right, looking at gold now. Gold, same exact thing on the monthly, on the higher time frames here. Still rejecting 2,000, Oh, why that's what's going on here. Move you guys. Okay. Yeah, 2000 over here is still getting rejected. That previous resistance on the higher time frames over here, but still very very strong bullish monthly candle here. Are we going to retrace, right? Are we going to correct some of this move and continue down if we get more of a hawkish Fed at some point? Maybe that could happen. Maybe inflation starts to tame down and we continue back down again a little bit. We'll see what we end up getting here. But if we look at the weekly here, what we ended up doing yesterday was bouncing off a very critical level. That was that previous resistance that we held here on the weekly, right? Came up from this area, holding this significant higher low over here in the end of February, and prices rocketed up throughout all of March. Retested this high with no problem, right? But now this candle closed with no top wick over here. This candle passed the high, retraced a little bit, and right now we are pretty bearish, trying to figure out where we want to go. But yesterday, the weekly ended up bouncing off this level, daily as well, 4 hours well, right? Lower time frames, bounced off that level, and now retraced with this monthly candle. So now this candle is a little bit weaker. Can we continue through here after something like that? All right. So now what we have is a very strong higher low being formed right in this previous area. Now, I don't like drawing it like that. Like, you could always draw it like this, where on the daily, that's your resistance. We pull back into that range to continue up. But if you look at the weekly, that's your weekly body. That's your weekly wick right there. And then on the daily, we ended up holding a beautiful support right in that area. And that's our most recent. So that's what we're going to mark off here. But we ended up getting a very strong candle close with the wick to fill. Bottom wick already formed on that candle. Past the high of the previous candle. Are we going to continue up into 2000? Fill that wick maybe and continue up from there, or are we going to end up creating like a double top over here, rejecting and continuing right back down, getting some kind of a correction? A lot has to change for that to happen, though. All right. Need some water. All right, so looks like we've kind of closed above this level, right? We came back down into this area. You got a nice little rally over here yesterday with a wick to fill. And now we're just kind of slowly working our way up to fill that wick over here. And now we're kind of rejecting some kind of area right there, or most likely it's right here, right? We're rejecting that resistance, getting a little bit exhausted. It looks like we're a little overextended here, and gold wants to pull back maybe into 1960 before continuing back up. Okay. And now looking at the 1 hour, see what we got for today. Remember, we have unemployment today. Right now, price is really just ranging. Like, I wouldn't really be touching much. This is your most recent resistance. We keep rejecting. If we close above that area, clean move to the left. If we continue that move up from yesterday, that could very well happen as well. I'm going to mark this off as our most recent support, right? I don't know if I would be taking anything here. Again, depends on how the candles close, but these might be your safer sells once you close below that area. And then obviously these is breaking structure below 1935, and we're definitely heading down if we could close below there, right? But right now, price is holding support, right, and continuing to create higher lows, right? And based on the daily, it does look like we're going to at least come up and retest this area up here and mirror that move to the left. So if you get that close above here, that's exactly what you're taking. But just keep in mind that weekly and how we keep rejecting 2000 over here. I don't know if we're going to end up retesting that high or almost retesting the high, exhausting, and then coming right back down, creating like a double top. All right. So over here, got a similar range, a little bit bigger. Yeah, 260. And again, in here, like, is the range big enough? Maybe. Yeah, you got about 90 pips right here, almost 100 pips right there. So maybe you could take something down in this area. There's a 30-minute kind of holding support. If we do close below this area, I would say, yeah, I'd stay out of this. If we close below here, you do have about 80 pips here, 77. where you can possibly take something in. But like I said, depends on the way the candles close and if that's a setup that you like over here. But I don't know if I would do it. I'm never gonna say never, but this would be the cleaner move that I'd be looking for. All right. Everyone clear on gold. Anyone see anything else? Anything differently? I think we got Lynn that just came in. Lewis. What's up, guys? Ooh, let's go back to GJ. GJ's starting to retrace over here. Again, they have their interest rate hikes coming out soon, too. So this is going to be at 8 a.m. So in the next 30 minutes. So we're not going to take anything just yet. Again, we're going to wait for the announcement. We're going to wait for the news, and we're going to see what ends up happening here with the setups. Let's see over here, right? So again, I fully expect them to increase rates by 25 basis points. That may give us a spike up over here and then continues right back down. Really depends, right? Because we saw yesterday, Japanese yen, US ended up increasing rates by 25 basis points, and the yen just skyrocketed over here, right? Bounce off that support. Could be technical with some volume kicking in, which pushed us up over here. But at the same time, like, we could possibly expect another move, especially because the yen is pretty bullish over here, has been creating these higher lows. This could very well continue up over here, and then the GJ can continue right back down. Like I said, it could come back into that previous resistance we talked about and then continue right back down from there. Or if we close above this area, maybe we could grab a move coming up with a fairly clean move here. All right, so US 30. Look at US 30 for a sec. US 30 is extremely bearish over here. Extremely bearish over here. Obviously, the monthly hasn't really changed too much, right? We got a little bit of movement yesterday, but at the same time, the monthly candle really looks the same. Looking at the weekly candle now, the weekly candle tapped into that previous area, 32,800, I'd say. Somewhere into here, perfectly, ended up rejecting and flipping bearish, or not flipping bearish just yet, but really rejecting that level over there. I think I took a trade on US 30 yesterday. Oh yes, it's one of my yeah, that's right, biggest trade ever on US 30, monetarily wise, but also pip wise as well, or point wise as well. So we could take a look at that too. But right over here, we're holding some kind of a support. Something tells me that support is not that strong, right? At some point, we're going to end up holding that as a resistance and continuing right back down within the next few weeks. Looking at the daily now. Daly's holding a beautiful resistance right in that area, right? Could actually adjust that right there. Previous support, now resistance, holding a strong bearish candle close over here, kind of below that previous resistance as well. So this could very well be a fake out where we continue right back down to that, right? We're also respecting a bearish trend here. Obviously that one as well, but you got one right over here. Price keeps tapping into, creating these lower highs and nice impulsive moves too, right? You create that high, nice impulsive move. Create that high, same thing here. Create the high, boom, right? But we do need to keep into account what this support is, because we have been holding a significant support right here for a couple days now, almost a week. Yeah, here you go. We're going to adjust this here. That's your support. May end up adjusting it as we go down the time frames, but right now what you're seeing is that resistance being held here, right? Previous support and a close below the previous resistance over here, where we ended up coming back above yesterday, right? Pulling back, retesting that high, holding a strong resistance. Top wick formed. This is what I was calling out for you guys yesterday. Oh, that's right. I did send this into the chat. This liquidity grab right there, right in this level. This is exactly what we look for, and I'll show it to you on the lower time frames as well. But this is what I capitalized on based on that liquidity grab right there and the multiple rejections here to the left. You'll see this more prevalent on the 1 hour and the 30 minute in a second, but just multiple rejections over here. And when you get a liquidity grab like that and a bearish flip, price is going to continue right back down. So looking at the weekly or the 1 hour now the 1 hour ended up closing like this, right? Again, liquidity grab, and it closed a very weak bullish candle. I was telling you, Quentin, yesterday, like these are the setups that you want to look at. You want to be like, damn, like, all right, how do I get it? You start salivating because you know that a nice setup or a nice candle like that is going to start printing itself, right? Especially with a lot of volume in the market towards the afternoon yesterday. So now, top wick form, we passed below the previous candle, continued right back down, but I'll point that trade out in a second. Right now, we have this low that was just formed, and we ended up just retracing from that area and rejecting it for the second time with that candle. This candle has now passed the high of that candle. We are holding a resistance right up top here. That's our lower high. Can we break below this level and continue back down? That's probably the trade that I would want to take. I don't know if I'd want to take any sells from here. I do think we are going to continue down, but I'm not going to guess there. We could very well come back into here. Previous range that we were using. Hold the lower high here, and then continue right back down from there. See the 30-minute? Yeah, 30-minute is holding a support perfectly, right? We keep getting heavy bounces. Nice bullish candle closes from that area, and a nice little rally over here. Right, so are we going to get the same exact thing here coming up and then possibly rejecting to continue down, creating that lower high here and then grab that down? Are we going to be able to trade in this range right here if we do pull back? You got about 150 points, so that could be possible, but we'll see. We'll see. We could very well end up correcting a lot of this move over here as well. But okay, so let's go back to GJ for a second. We got about 20 minutes before the interest rates come out for Great Britain. We're going to point out a few trades, and then if we have time, we'll do a breakdown or two. All right, and we could always carry on with those later. So, does anyone, before I start pointing it out, does anyone see how I could have taken? Unless you already looked at the journal that I sent to you guys, anyone see how I could have grabbed this one or how I did grab this?
Is it because the liquidity grab?
Yes, sir. So we had this liquidity grab right at 230. Interest rates shot up US 30 over here, right? For the fact that they only went by 25 basis points, so that added some optimism in the market, but at the same time it did increase rates again. They did increase rates again. So you get that liquidity grab and a continuation down. So that's what I'm seeing with GJ right now, where we could get that little rally if they do increase rates by 25 basis points, but then it'll probably continue right back down. Now, this setup right here, I took this on the lower time frames, but it was based on the higher time frames and the fact that the 30-minute ended up closing bearish like that. How many rejections? Like we created that high up there, right? So we create that first high at 32,600. You pull back and retest that high. Great, right? I actually grabbed this trade as well. But at that time, it's like, okay, we're failing to break above that resistance. We're failing to create a new high over here. So that's the first indication that, okay, we could be holding a resistance. I didn't think so at the time, but at the time, you're consolidating, tapping into this area again, and then rejecting. Coming back down, rejecting once again, right? Pulling back and creating some kind of a low over here that's lower than that previous low. So we broke below the previous low over here, showing like, okay, this could be where we're exhausting over here. And price could be holding some kind of a resistance. We may want some kind of a pullback, right? And then all of a sudden you hold this higher low over here, create this high, FOMC comes out, and then you get a strong bearish candle close like that. Like these candles after multiple rejections of a resistance are what you guys should be looking for. It's like for a possible setup and a reversal, right? This is something like where I always talk about, like if you're going to call tops and bottoms, you want to wait for the nearest support over here to be broken and retested before taking this down. this is, those were always my rules, and they still mostly are. But as you get more and more advanced and start seeing your pair more and more, and start seeing, the actual technical setups for a lot of these pairs, a lot of them happen on most of the pairs. Once you start seeing this more and more, you could start calling tops like this from right over here. But again, this comes from what I was talking about before with the journaling, right? I was missing these moves over here for a long time. And eventually, as you start to journal more and more, back test it, you start to catch these, So now what I was looking at over here was the lower time frames. So we ended up, I think we ended up getting, let me actually just go to my journal. It'll be a lot easier. Here we go. So this is what the daily looked like after. This is the daily after. So we ended up rejecting. Looks very similar right now. This is what the 4-hour looked like after. So top wick form, flip bearish. This is what the 1-hour candle looked like right over here. Major liquidity grab during Powell pressure. 32,600 seems to be holding a strong resistance. So we ended up closing a very weak candle like that. So right over there, like my mouth is salivating. I'm getting ready to actually execute a trade at a good risk too. Strong bearish candle close on the 30-minute there. 15-minute. Okay, so this was the 5-minute, right? What we ended up doing was creating the high, liquidity grab. Then we push all the way down here. This is what I liked about this setup on the 15-minute and the 5-minute. The fact that we closed below and created a new low over here through that level, right? So now what I'm looking for is, I'm not like, oh damn, I'm missing this whole move over here. Like I just want to get in. No, I'm waiting for a pullback at some point and a lower high to be formed, and then I could take this thing all the way down. I know price is going to tank after that. Well, I don't know for a fact, but there's a great possibility of that happening. So we got that top form, the lower high, this 5-minute candle, never passed the high of the previous candle. And once we started breaking below, like we started flipping bearish over here, and it didn't break the low of that wick just yet, but it was about to. That's where I entered my first position. Stop loss was up here above that wick, above this bullish wick right there. So there we go. 80% at 125 points, which was 1-to-1. Stop loss at break even. And then I just let it run. Closed another 50% at 245 points, as it was basically 2-to-1. And then over here, closed another 50% at 400 points. Does that make sense? In other words, over here, ended up closing the full thing this morning, which I got a journal. But does that make sense to you guys? Do you have any questions on that? Barely had anything running by the time I closed at 400. Guys, any questions? I guess I explained it well. So
Yeah, man. Nice and simple, you know.
yeah, I want you guys to be catching these trades. Like maybe not now, but like this is why I keep stressing on you guys to journal, because this is everything. Like you guys being able to go back and study these trades as well. Like you're not going to have that if you're not journaling. So, but also the trade I took last night, I wanted to point out to you, technically a win, but it really wasn't. Like I'll show you in a second. So this setup was beautiful this morning or last night. Daily candle ended up flipping bearish and closing bearish like that, right? Next one already created the top wick, started flipping bearish right there. So we already rejected this level and got a nice liquidity grab right here. That's why I like this setup, right? Especially after the daily close last night, top wick was already forming. Then you get the 4-hour here on GJ. Again, two strong bearish candle closes over here. Top wick formed on that candle, starting to approach this level, which was the first no that maybe I should have known not to trade. Like maybe I shouldn't have taken this sell right into this area, but I thought we could possibly continue this thing down and break right through that level with some Asian volume. Now, what ended up happening here was you get the bearish impulsive move from yesterday. FOMC also correcting the impulsive move from interest rate hikes, or not interest rate, higher CPI from Great Britain, right? And then also Powell came out with his interest rate hike, and that kind of corrected this whole move. with the Japanese yen continuing up, right? So now what we end up having here is a low formed and a nice pullback with a 1 hour candle close. The next candle ends up creating a nice top wick, respecting the high, flipping bearish and passing the low of that candle. I thought that we should be able to break through that support and continue down, but I was ready to manage risk at any point if we couldn't control this area. Now, with me, what I knew was there was a great chance that price was going to end up filling that wick and at least retesting this area once again. That's why I took this. And I knew I could at least grab like maybe a little bit less than a 1-to-1, but I could at least grab some pips here tonight, grab some money, and then, maybe get out of the move if we end up rejecting that area. And this is one of those trades where like you feel really great about your risk management and it almost feels like a win. When you close that trade out and you're like, you know what? All right, I'm done. Close your chart, especially during Asian, you go to bed. It's a great feeling. But right over here, again, great resistance right over here. Another bearish candle close, weaker bearish candle close right at this area. And then this candle push into that area, that resistance, and then flip bearish and close bearish again. What I did was I waited for the top wick on this candle to create, pass the low of the previous candle over here so that I could take this to drop. But I left my stop loss up here for a reason. I didn't want to put it above this candle in case we got some retracement. Now, typically what you'll see is, maybe months ago, you would have probably seen maybe we're holding this support right over here. We got that bearish candle close, but then all of a sudden this candle ends up passing the low of the previous candle and starting to flip bullish over here. Now, typically you would probably see me closing 50 a little bit early here. But what I did was I was very confident in this price action here. The fact that we would hold that resistance and continue down. This is kind of where intuition comes in on both sides of the trade. You'll see in a sec. But we ended up flipping bullish over here and pulling back. This was the 5-minute and this was the 1-minute. What I was comfortable with is the fact that we kind of created a new low on the 5-minute over here, coming down over here, that we could possibly come into this area, hold another lower high, and then continue right back down. So that's kind of what I was playing. Again, it was a little risky, but this is where intuition comes in with your pair. Here's the 1-minute, holding that support. And then the 15-minute did end up closing bullish right over here, right? But again, the previous 15-minute candle closed a very strong bearish candle, rejecting this area for the 3rd time. Remember what I was talking about with US 30 just now with that previous trade, rejecting that area multiple times in a downtrend as well. So now you're starting to see the 15-minute push into that area, right? And then flip bearish. All of a sudden, this is the 30-minute. The 30-minute created the top wick, respected the high of the previous candle, now flipping bearish, passing the low of the previous. So here you go. This is the 5-minute. That was that lower high I knew that was going to create, and we ended up pulling all the way back over here, right back into this support. Now, this is where I started getting more alert as far as like knowing, okay, maybe we may not break through that support. The fact that that 5-minute just closed at that support, but I did think that, okay, we could just be holding this lower high or lower low, holding a resistance right in here, and then continuing right back down, right? 15-minute ended up closing bearish, creating that liquidity grab, flipping bearish, closing bearish with a wick to fill. So now I'm pretty comfortable in this trade. I remember I ended up moving my stop loss down here at one point. I forget where, but I got to read through the description. But this is the 1 hour. 1 hour ended up flipping and closing bearish, right? It was playing around here, but it did close bearish with a wick to fill. So again, I'm confident that price may be able to break through that support and mirror this move to the left. Okay, so now the 5-minute all of a sudden starts to hold this support right over here, right? Start holding that support. I don't like it. So what I ended up doing was once this candle closed bullish over here again, right? Now we're starting to create some kind of a range here on the 5-minute. Once this bullish candle closed, I was waiting for this candle to create a top wick and start to pass the low of these candles potentially and continue right back down. But as soon as it flipped bullish right over here, holding this support over here, right? Asian didn't have enough volume to push us through that support. I ended up closing the full thing at 10 pips. I didn't like the bounce off 800. Also a psychological level. That's why you want to pay attention to the price at a lot of times. This was the 5-minute. Another screenshot. I guess I didn't have to take two. But then look at what ended up happening here on GJ. Where was that? Right here. So this was the 5-minute. This was that little range I was talking about. This candle did end up tapping into that area, flipping bearish and closing bearish, but just, kind of consolidate. I would have been sitting in this all night, right? And then price did end up reversing, and I would have been stopped at break even. So instead, I grabbed 10 pips on that. And now waking up this morning, that it almost feels like a win. The fact that I was able to manage risk, it was a great setup. I did think that we could continue down, but at the same time, it just, it was a little risky taking it right here. So you got to stay on your P's and Q's when taking that. Make sense? Does that help when I'm breaking down charts and going through everything methodically for you? I want to keep doing that for you.
Yeah, I think it helps me a lot for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Carlos. Quinn, Serge, Lim, Lewis. Anybody?
Yeah, definitely help.
Okay.
Good to go, man.
Like I know Lim, you definitely look through my trades and study them and all that stuff, but I think like just me explaining them on the live here for you or in a one-on-one Zoom will help you a lot as well. Okay, so what we have going on here is we have another 6 minutes before the interest rate hike ends up happening here. So now we're obviously ranging here on GJ on the higher time frames. What I'm going to do is take a screenshot here and start getting my journal ready for a possible trade on GJ. So here you go. I actually already have the title ready for you. We got the daily. Lewis, what's up, man? How's your morning going?
Good, bro. How are you?
Doing great. You having a good week so far?
Yeah, bro.
Okay. Catch anything on the XRP?
Yeah, actually, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the trade looking like?
There was a trade last night, actually. Took someone. And no, and then just took some profits from their portfolio and then just waiting for lower prices.
Nice. Beautiful, man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, crypto's gonna be going up a little bit, I think, with everything going on.
Yeah. But I overall expect it to go back down anyways. Just
I'm
like
sure it
everything
will.
else.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
correct at some point, but
Yeah.
any kind of banking crisis, I think Bitcoin and XRP are gonna be going up.
What do you expect on US 30? You think US 30 is gonna come back down like under 30K again?
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
think
right.
it's just pulling back right now. Oops. It's just pulling back right now. If you look at the higher time frames, we really just faked this level out right over here and tapped into this level perfectly. This previous support over here, 32,600, holding that resistance. We're going to continue down. Look at the daily and the weekly.
Yeah.
Look at the weekly over here. Something tells me that we're just going to tap off that area and continue right back down. Clean move to the left over here. Already closed below that support right there, right? We're just kind of retesting this area. You can also argue we're kind of like holding that as a new resistance now. That was that previous support could be rejecting that area here on the weekly as well. Holding that as a resistance and then continuing right back down. What I could do right now is, since we're just waiting, we got 3 minutes left. Let's take screenshots of everything else and get our other pairs kind of ready to go. So it's GJ, US 30 on 3:23:23 at AM. 4 hour. Looks like we're really bouncing off that support like we were talking about this morning. One hour. Minute. So 15 minutes. Got 2 more minutes left. Can I get gold in here? Gold is just a mess right now. Yeah, gold's kind of exhausted right there, but it could very well continue bullish. It's quick. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Test my journaling skills. 14 seconds. Seven seconds. Quick. Here we go. All right, interest rates. Let's see what we got here. What did they do? Sure, it's 25 basis points. Yep, 25 basis point increase. Like I said, we could be pushing up over here. You just want to wait for the news to play out, right? We could push up into this area and then continue right back down today. Or we may end up holding this support after the news, and maybe you could grab that move up, especially if you create a high and you could retest that high, depending on that move. So let's see. Yep, we do have this resistance right here. Are we going to close above that area in the next 1 minute to 5 minutes? And if we do, maybe we could grab like a 1 minute move up. Let's actually revisit the higher time frames again. So the daily is kind of interesting because we did tap into this support over here. If you want to draw this like that, we did just tap into that support over there and hold that support. I mean, yesterday we got a strong impulsive move coming down, right? Lower high being formed and flipping bearish, closing bearish. But now we're actually holding support in this area as well. So just massive range right there. You look at the 4 hour. I don't really want to draw it like that. But the 4 hour over here, like I said, we kind of like fake this whole area out, closing below this area. So like I said earlier, we could come up into here, hold that resistance, and then continue right back down, or we could close above that area and continue up. That's why we go back to the higher time frames. Yeah, see how we're kind of rejecting that area right there? For sells, like I said, it might be risky to take anything below here in this range, right? But this might be a nice move. It will be 160, 800. Once we close below that area, that's the one we were rejecting last night. We could then get this move coming down. 138 pips. Be beautiful. Let's see. Look at that rejection right there. This kind of looks like the setup we were talking about on US 30 here yesterday. Multiple rejections, fake that area out, liquidity grab, and continue right back down, potentially. One second. All right. So now we're just kind of sitting in a range. Again, we have unemployment coming out. This was expected, so you're probably not going to see much of a move from that. But gold, just kind of ranging, waiting for unemployment, waiting for new home sales, maybe. US 30 is creating that lower high now. See the 30-minute. This is what we were talking about, right? Price could come up into here, hold the lower high, and then continue right back down. Might be risky to take these sells right here. I don't know if I want to do that in pre-New York. I mean, we're getting a nice resistance right here. Yeah, honestly, I think safer sells are going to be below here. I'm not that much of a pro on US 30 just yet to be taking this right here. I'm not comfortable taking that. I think below here is going to be a nice move. Right into here. So let's take a screenshot of GJ here. 15-minute. What I'll do is take a screenshot of the data. Carlos, you see how I'm doing this?
Yes, sir, for sure.
Awesome. And then
Yeah, I'm
I,
typing as we speak.
then I write my description right afterwards. 5-minute. Yeah, it was a nice liquidity grab. Just only on the 5-minute, so I'm not gonna trade in this range. See, the 15 minutes can be closing in what is this? 8 minutes. See if this thing closes bearish. You might be able to take this down. Just don't know if I want to. Depends on how the candle closes. 5-minute candle held that resistance, closed bearish below that support. This candle could be just creating a top wick, flipping bearish and continuing down. You took that on the flip, that's 60 points. Get a screenshot of this. Quinn, what are you up to, buddy?
I'm trying to figure out what could GJ do.
Trying to figure out what GJ's gonna do.
Yeah.
Don't get caught in this though.
No, yeah, I don't think I want to trade that whole range between 167.50 and 161.700.
Yeah. Honestly, the 750. Oh, you're saying right over here? You don't want to trade anything in there?
Yeah, I mean it would have to close perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly wouldn't even trade anything from 162 100 to 160 800. Like this whole area. We can actually
Yeah.
draw this for visual purposes for you guys.
Yeah, you really need like the perfect candle formation.
You need the
Take something
perfect
in there.
candle formation to trade in there.
Yeah.
I agree. Right over there, and then again, we close above here. You got that clean move to the left. You could really just trade in this entire range right here, but that's gonna be your next target. Yeah. That'll be your next target. We're just again just bouncing around in here. Even arguably, this could be like orange right over here. And then once you break out of that, right, then you get the fairly clean move coming down this way. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. It goes still playing around. US 30. I want to see that 5-minute closed. So yeah, the 5-minute close, a strong bearish candle. Next one's creating that Tau wick starting to flip bearish. Let's see what pre-markets are looking like today. Over there. Pre-markets are mixed today, it seems like. NASDAQ is down, S&P is up, Dow is up. That a lot of the European stocks are now down, indices. FX. USD pairs are down right now. GBP is up, Euro's up. This is a great let's see. Great resource for you guys if you guys don't have it. Five-minute close bullish over here. Hey Serge, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, bro, but I got this, interpreting jobs over the phone, so I need to pop up in and out all the time.
You're good, man. I was just gonna ask you how your dad's doing. He's in Poland, right?
No, he was in Poland only briefly. He come back to Ukraine.
He's in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Is he near Kherson?
No, he's like between Lvov and Kiev. It's in middle of the country.
Wow. Okay.
So we got only like, these missiles coming, but because it's a small town, only one landed in the forest they found recently, but apart from that, it's only like they got the sirens every morning, like because if the plane going up in Belarus, all Ukraine got the sirens and everybody needs to kind of hide, but obviously people just got used to this life, and they're not hiding anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. They're
They
they're
don't go
just so
into the
used
bomb
to it now.
shelter or anything.
So what do they do for like work and stuff like that? Like, is your dad working? You might be retired, but
He's retired. He's retired, so he's not working anymore. He just go into the market, buy some food,
I
and
guess a bit of Spanish banking news. The CEO of Spain's Bank Inter says the bank has
Let
a
me switch
comfortable
off this.
solvency and liquidity.
So
yeah, how does that work in
yeah, so
wartime?
my friend, he's got a business, he was doing kitchen, like, fully built kitchens, and he's saying he like before he used to earn, for example, $100, now it's 20, so the
He's
business gone down 80%.
wow. That's terrible.
Yeah, nothing is moving, because everybody is like in a waiting mode, just waiting what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting during wartime, like on your land, like, what do you possibly, is it all like survival? Are you trying to make money? Like, it's interesting. Yeah, GJ's not
Yeah,
giving
but
us much.
my friend, you know, he lives in Kiev, and it's actually like getting bombed quite often, you know, and he's saying he's not scared anymore, but it's quite scary. He said first few times, you know, when these bombs like going down, you know, next couple of like maybe like a few hundred yards from his house, you know, and it's like he said you can't compare to anything else because it's just you don't know what to do because it's so loud, you know. It's like you can't say like you can't compare it to anything else because it's very loud. He said
Yeah.
when it's like exploding, you know, it's like he said you never heard noise like that.
It's Patrick Bet-David talks about it a lot. He's a refugee from Iran when the Shah was killed, and he was a refugee in Germany. But he said as a kid, like nothing is I don't know. You can't compare anything to the sounds of bombs. Like as a kid, like it's just it's the craziest feeling in the world. Also, my dad too. My dad was in Cyprus when what's it called? Turkey invaded. So he was hearing bombs like that. I remember he was telling me when we went to Cyprus that he remembers like he'll never forget his my grandmother's scream when they thought they lost my uncle. Like they couldn't find him in the refugee camp, and they're like, and this is in Cyprus, and just he's like, I'll never forget that in my entire life. Like I could hear it like it was yesterday, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a terrible time, but people just got used to, you know, and what I was talking before to them, you know, they just were scared. Now they said even if it's like siren or bombs going down next road, you don't get as scared as before, you know, you just
Yeah.
get used to this stuff now.
Yeah, you become insensitive to it. US 30. So I'm looking at US 30 over here. I'm liking this setup right over here in the 15-minute. I do think after a close like that, we're going to continue down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait 15 minutes for unemployment to come out. I'd rather not be in the trade during unemployment coming out. So I'm just going to journal this and live back test it, see how it works out. Remember, you don't need to catch a trade today, and it doesn't need to be during pre-New York or during like the early morning sessions. You can hold your bullets for the end of the session, or 9:30 stock exchange open. You got 10 o'clock, 10:30. You get a nice push. 11 o'clock. We've seen afternoon pushes as well. I kind of separate my trade count by that, but if you guys are a little bit fairly new and still trying to get used to the way you're trading, maybe you want to keep everything into one day instead of one session. Like for me, I have a limit of 2 to 3 trades per session, right? It used to be per day. Now it's per session just because I trust myself more now. Yeah, this candle's flipping bearish. And take that screenshot. You just pushing up a little bit over here. Yeah, I don't think I want to touch anything in here. Yeah, I should just move this here. It might be better. I mean, it really depends. Like, the setup that we get like right here, right? Can we get a nice setup where we could possibly take this thing up? Let's measure the range. You got 40 pips right there, so that's big enough. So the pip count won't keep you away from it, but just the range and the setup may keep you out. But you do have the clean move to the left, and you got a big enough range, and this could very well continue up through that area. Because GJ could want to bounce off this area, retest that area again, and then continue right back down and give you like a double top up here. But we'll see. What I'm looking at here is like we did reject this area pretty hard, but we are still holding this higher low and this support over here. And there's a good chance that we can end up filling that wick right there. I can see that maybe happening too. You just want to stay fluid in the market. Take smart trades. There we go. 5 minutes giving you that lower high. Lewis, you looking at anything specific you want to go over?
Just waiting for GJ to close on the 30-minute to see where he
Okay.
wants to close, and I'm just waiting and I'm waiting either for gold to close above 1900 or to close below 1965.
Above 1900. Well, gold's at 1977 now, so you're looking for
Well, I'm sorry, 1983. I'm sorry.
okay. 83, 84. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a fairly clean move above that.
Yeah.
Guys, give me 2 seconds, all right?
Comex opening in 1 minute. So let's see what's happened to gold.
What's opening?
Comex. Comex is like commodities exchange where they trade commodities only. It's a part of, I think, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And they usually move. Now you can see on gold it's move. It's like opening always 1:30. Oh well, 8:20 New York time, I think.
Always opens at 8:20.
Yes, always 8:20.
It's interesting.
Sometimes it's give a good move. That's why I think I found out about this from Uncle Ted. He was on Raja stream once, and he was talking about Comet. He called it Comex Comet,
Okay.
because it's like shooting one way or another, you know.
Yeah, no, that
Like
I
a
think
comet.
that would definitely come in handy when you don't have news coming out at 8:30. You know, because like if news is coming out at 8:30, I'd rather just wait for that volume push. But you know, if you don't have anything like unemployment or anything like that, I think that's a good indicator that you're gonna get some volume coming in. Appreciate that. All right, so GJ, the 5-minute ended up closing above that resistance right there and filling that wick. Like I said, we created a higher low over here, ended up filling that wick right there and continuing up. Right, but again, we're sitting in this area. Want to be very selective over the trade that you end up taking in here. Very selective over the trade that you take in this area. About 9 minutes left. Lim, how's your week going?
Busy with it, rushing my projects.
What was
But
that?
still looking at the charts. Busy with my school projects, but I'm still looking at the charts.
Busy with your school projects. Okay. Have you been taking many trades?
I took one in the afternoon just now. Wait,
Okay.
night afternoon.
Took one in the afternoon, you said?
Yeah, it was GJ.
Okay. Do you want to send it over? We'll look at it.
I haven't done it yet because I was in school. But yeah, I'll put it in a group chat.
Okay. Try to see something real quick.
I don't know, bro. I feel like GJ's about to just take off, bro.
Maybe with 8:30 volume. Trying to see. Let's see. The 1 hour looks good.
Starts passing that high.
Right?
Yeah.
8 o'clock or yeah, 8
4
o'clock
hours.
ended up closing nice over here. Bottom wick form past high the previous candle. obviously that was during news when that happened, but you know, we could see how this 30-minute ends up closing. Like, does it close a strong bullish candle above that resistance? And if so, does the next candle create a bottom wick and pass the high? Like I said, there are possibilities where we could possibly take something right here, but you want to be selective over it. You want to use one of your bullets, you know? Carlos, what do you think about Trader's Domain?
But you got your funds out from there, bro?
I mean, I think I could easily get my funds out of there because I deposit and withdraw through Bitcoin. So I think I could easily get it out of there. But you know, I was debating on whether I want to do it. Maybe I go over to Dominion. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But like, do you know exactly what's going on? Like, what the details are?
Supposedly he's just getting investigated, but I don't know. I really don't know so much about it, to be honest. I know my friend has been trying to get some funds out of there for a while in crypto as well, and he hasn't.
You through crypto as well?
Yeah.
He's been trying to withdraw with Bitcoin, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He made like a $40,000 or $50,000 withdrawal like a few months ago and nothing, bro.
Still hasn't gotten that. Wow.
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah.
a big trader?
My other friend, he's all right. He was just trying them out, and then my other friend he had like 20K with them, and he tried to withdraw like through to BTC since November, bro. Nothing yet. So I don't know if it's maybe specifically for certain people, or I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that today. Because I've never had any problems with them. And now that this is all going over with a new company buying them, I might just head over to Dominion, join Raquel.
Dominion seems pretty good, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so annoying with our industry, with these brokers and everything. It's just a shame. Can't trust anybody or anything.
What about this? There's this broker it's a regulated broker called Burberry Markets. Have you heard about it?
BlackBerry or
Black Oh yeah, Blackberry or Blueberry, I don't know, something like that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can look into them. I mean, after Trader's Domain and all this going on, like, it's hard to trust anything.
That's what I'm saying. I know. Even if they're regulated or what?
They're unregulated.
They're unregulated?
Yeah.
I thought they were regulated.
No, they're unregulated.
No, never mind.
So it's pulling back into the range. Gold got a little push, like Serge was saying, with the that COMEX opening up. We got 3 minutes left for unemployment. Let's see if we can let's take a look at some of the previous unemployment trades we've taken for a second. News, unemployment. Ooh, you know what? Quinn, do you remember this trade? I think we took this one together. This is back in August of 2022, last year. I remember this.
Yeah, I think I remember.
It's funny, like some of these trades you remember like it was yesterday. Yeah, tapping off a key area here on the 4 hour. And a bearish trend, 1 hour candle close like that. Ended up taking a wild trade, right? With a stop loss up there. But, you know, this thing is destined to continue down. I knew he was going to pull back into this area. Now, if I were to take this again, I don't know, did I do a later analysis on this? I think I did.
I took an on the 15, I think. I waited for a 15 close, like I entered a little later than you. I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 minute entry after close below support. Okay, so I took this. Yeah, this is wild. Took this. See, now this is kind of like very similar to the US 30 trade that I took yesterday, right? Where you end up getting this push over here, but now instead being more aware and more accustomed to certain things now, I was able to wait for this pullback right over here in US 30 and take it somewhere, you know, like right there, right? To take this thing down. Instead, over here, I took this after that 1 minute close below, stop loss up here, pretty safe, right? I could easily manage risk, but I knew we were going to get this pullback. I remember being on the live stream with Quentin here, obviously a couple other people, but I think you were the only one that took this. And then I did a second entry right over here at the 15-minute flip. And that was your
Yeah, I took it. Yeah, I took it on the break of the low of the previous candle there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, I took it right there.
Smart. Yeah, that's a nice trade right there. I closed the full thing at 42 pips. Could I have left a runner? Nope. Wow, that's a nice close. Look at that rejection right there. Just push right into that area and then rejected. All right, 8:30. We are here. Let's see, unemployment. Doesn't look like a big, you know, surprise move just yet. Current account is negative. It's better. $191. Yeah, you're not gonna. It's mixed data. You know, 198, 192 is the previous. You're right in between that. So you're not gonna see much of a big move here. And plus, I think gold is a little exhausted up here after that move. You may want to pull back into here before continuing back up if that's the case. But again, as you guys know, the daily, the not so much the daily. Daily looks nice to continue up, but the weekly, we're now in a weekly resistance over here, rejecting this previous area. Last time we did, again, previous bullish candle closed with no top wick. Right now, we're just kind of like teetering around this area. You could end up getting multiple rejections of this area over here, and then a nice impulsive move down. That might happen. See US 30 over here. This is why we didn't take this just yet. 15 closed bullish, past below the previous candle, right? And we were just kind of teetering around here. This candle opened up and kind of gapped down. It's now filling that gap. Can this continue down from here? I could see if this candle flips bearish, that might be a possible entry right there to take this down to the low. But safer sells will be below 32,000. Yeah, that's definitely why we're holding this support so significantly, is because that's 32,000 right there. Significant level. Psychological. Let's see, do I want to enter this on US 30? Yeah, maybe not. Seems like we keep rejecting this area right here. Let's see if we could get below this area, right? If let's say this 5-minute candle closes in the next 3 minutes below that area, might be able to take that. Ugh. Just waiting. Let's see. I should take a screenshot here. Five-minute. Each 33 and yeah, 1 minute keeps like holding that support right there. Right. Now, what I do see over here, though, is we're holding that resistance up there, lower high, another impulsive move, lower high, another impulsive move, lower high, right? And then we push down into the support. Now, if we can create another lower high here and close below here, I think we are going to continue down. But we'll see. For now, I'm probably just going to stay out of this because this is something I'm not too familiar with. And plus, we're bouncing off this strong level right here. This could just be a quick pullback to then continue back up and then continue back down, maybe. See, now GJ on the 15-minute rejected that level again, rejected 720. 30-minute closed a nice strong bullish candle, but below that area as well. So I don't want to see you guys getting trapped here, right? Could end up rejecting that area and continuing down. If this candle closed like right here and we were getting this bottom wick and it was now passing, I could see us taking that. But we just keep rejecting that area. And you could arguably put that right there with the multiple rejections to the left here. Resistance right over here. Let's see what we get.
Steph, what would you think about shorting gold below 1973?
That's a good question. 1973, right here.
A bit banking front this time with the European.
Yeah, I could see that. This might just be like one of those orange zones, Serge, like this. Like it's a big enough range, right? And I could see it definitely playing out. You got 77 pips over here. These are just going to be safer if you just wait for this. But again, like I said, I always say, I'm never going to say never unless it's just like absolutely atrocious. Wow. It all depends on the way candles close around this area, right? Do we get a nice strong close below that area, top wick rejection, and then we could take this down? Because we keep rejecting this area. I like that. I like the thought of a sell here.
What about impulse? How can you trade impulse move? For example, it's moving down. Would you go short now? Or?
You're saying impulse?
Yes.
No. So right now we are still creating higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and still respecting this area so far. Right now, what I would do is I would just wait for the 15-minute candle at least to close below this area. If that closes below this area, I like the multiple rejections here. If that closes below this area, do you want to take a sell right now and not miss this move? Absolutely. But you would have to put your stop loss all the way up here. If you just wait for some kind of a resistance to hold right here, counter trend, then you could put your stop loss a little bit tighter and take this thing down. Make sense? Church?
Yes, makes sense, yes.
Trading is all about patience, man. And there's going to be trades that you miss like this, right? Where it's just like, damn, like how can I grab this? And potentially you can. You can anticipate this lower high. This is where journaling comes in. Anticipate this lower high over here. And that close, top wick forms, passes the low of that candle. And possibly you could take this thing down, right? But, it would be foolish not foolish, but like it'd be risky. Right now, at this point, it's like, okay, keep pushing right here. I see a lot of bearish volume. Awesome. Create a lower low for me so that now I can take this down, use that as a range, and then move this thing down here. And take the move down.
So you would like resistance to form and then, or you would like just to have a top wick and next candle go down?
Again, it always depends. Like, we don't know how this candle's going to close. So, like, if it closes strongly like that, it's like, okay, maybe I could just wait for a top wick to form. If it flips bearish, maybe I could take that down. Right? But I would really like to see like a classic break and retest right here. Like candles closing bullish and then closing bearish in our direction. And then we could take this thing down. That would probably be the best. I do like the 4 hour here. Yeah, I do like the 4 hour to continue down. Let me just take a screenshot of this. Back to gold. Daily. 4 hour. 1 hour. 30-minute. $15-minute. 4 hour. 8:39 a.m. So the 4 hour looks great for like a possible swing trade. Now, if you want to get a better entry and take a trade based on the 4 hour over here, you're going to wait for this 4 hour to pull back over here. Because think about it. This 4 hour candle surge is going to be closing soon. It's going to be closing in the next 20 minutes. So you're probably most likely what we know probability wise is that this candle is going to end up at some point creating a low, retracing, and then creating its bottom wick. Right? And most likely it would end up closing somewhere around here. Would you agree?
Yeah, in theory, yes.
In theory, exactly. So at some point, like majority of the time, we see at the end of a candle, it normally creates its bottom or top wick. So that's what we're waiting on. So at that point, we know that we're probably going to get a top wick on the 4 hour probability. That's what you're trading probabilities. And now if that candle ends up flipping bearish, that's the move that we could take with a clean move to the left. So that's why you go up to the higher time frames. You come back to the lower time frames and use all of them as tools. So this is the 1 hour now. Here's the 30-minute. Minute. This is a 15-minute. Yeah, gold looked very exhausted this morning. I knew there was a good chance that we could get some kind of a pullback from the way we were consolidating right over here. It's like I don't see enough juice to push us through that resistance unless we get some crazy unemployment number that came out. But right now, I'm waiting to see how this candle ends up closing. Good thing is, like, if it does push all the way down into here and then pulls back and holds a resistance, now you have a range that you could fill. And then that's exactly how you want to catch counter trend trades, is waiting for the retest, the most recent support or resistance. But safer sells, let's say that this thing just pushes all the way down over here and closes below there. It's like, okay, wait for the retest right here, and you get an even better move to the left. But you see what I was talking about here, Serge? Again, these are trades that are a little bit more advanced and tricky. And this would have been really trading the news, but the way we just created that lower high right there, right? That bearish close, top wick form, past the low of the previous candle, taking this down, like I said, risky, but it could be done at some point.
Yeah, the XY is pumping as well. That's why it's tanking. So.
Yep. Let's take a look. Yeah, yen is coming down too. Yeah, look at that. We found some kind of a support.
Because yields going up, and when dollar and yields going up, gold always going down.
Yep. Yields. All right, guys, give me 1 second. Let me just use the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right, got some movement here. US 30. That's why we didn't take those sells, huh? Looks like we're really bouncing off a psychological level of 32,000 over here. So we may be seeing some kind of a rebound. Wow, look at that. Could be seeing some kind of a rebound, or at least like a lower high being formed, and then a continuation back down, or this could very well continue back up here, create the double top and continue down, or come right back into 32,320 and then continue. So that's interesting over here. Not enough volume to push us down. Now GJ over here keeps rejecting resistance, so we're saving ourselves from a loss right now, trying to take those buys and be afraid of missing this little range right there. I wouldn't be doing that. But then what were we looking at? Gold here. 15-minute candle did close a strong bullish candle, right? But barely a bottom wick over here. So that tells me price should at least pull back a little bit and then continue back down. I wouldn't want to be taking a sell into this support right over here. That's where most people lose. That's where most people have a lot of issues with their trading, is that they end up selling supports and buying resistances. Like right at that area, just like on GJ, some people end up buying that resistance right there, afraid that they're going to miss that move. So right here, what I would rather wait for, right? We didn't close below here. I'd rather wait for a top wick or a pullback into here and then a continuation down. I do like the top wick on this candle though, but I'm just not gonna jump into that right now. I'd rather wait for a setup right below here. Yeah, that was just like a free fall on the 1 minute too. Barely any pullbacks on the 1 minute. 5 minute either. But this is the formation that I'm starting to really understand and take advantage of, where like, are we sitting in a range right here? Yeah, on the 5 minute. But like if you look at this on like the 30 minute or something like that, the fact that we're rejecting that resistance right there, we get a nice little push. You're also in a lower high right over here as well. We pull back into this same exact area and you get a strong bearish candle close like that, right? Top wick forms past the low of the previous candles right over here with a lot of volume in the market, taking this thing down with your stop loss up here. I don't really like executing that on a 5 minute over here, but on like a 30 minute or the 15 minute, if that setup presented itself, this is something you could start journaling and executing on. Looks like the 5 minute closed a lot weaker of a candle, so you could start to see the exhaustion where we could pull back and then continue down. But if this leaves without me, I'm totally fine with it. Sometimes price moves without giving you an entry. You see a move in the market and it just doesn't give you anything. Yeah, look at that. Remember, capital preservation. You guys want to capitalize on a move right now, right? But at the same time, you need to be able to keep your profits from yesterday. You got to keep your profits from maybe the London session. Right, now US 30 over here is starting to create that lower high again and reject that resistance. Obviously, we're sitting in a range right here, right? But again, if we could close below here, I could see this being a move taken down, but I don't think any of you guys trade US 30. Wow, look at that rejection on GJ. Yeah, so I reckon I'm probably not going to be taking much of a trade this morning unless US 30 decides to do something over here and close below. I think this might end up being a nice move here. Let's see. Gold. Yeah, I already have like 10 screenshots per pair over here. Where did it go? Does anybody have any questions of what to expect later on today? What they want to see, what they want to take? Any questions they want to go over? Any kind of trade? Anybody?
No
No?
questions,
No,
definitely.
you guys are good. Serge, you're all good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Awesome. All right, so to wait for the pullback on gold here, you're going to see a nice resistance. Obviously, rejecting. We're exhausted over here. You're going to see a nice move, potentially retest that low and possibly continue down from there. So that's what I'm going to be waiting on later on this afternoon, and then also US 30 if it gives us something. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys at 1 p.m. for back testing. I look forward to it, and I'll see you then.
Later, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you, boys. Good job today.
Yeah.